Carolina Insider is presented by Wells Fargo.
It is a large and impactful freshman class for Carolina basketball this season, and that includes those two freshmen starting in the backcourt, Caleb Love and our guest today, RJ Davis. RJ from White Plains, New York, made his way down here to Chapel Hill to play for the Tar Heels. Adam Lucas and I had an opportunity to talk to RJ earlier this week and wanted to let you listen in on some of that conversation.
So, RJ, thanks a lot for giving us some time today. I can't imagine you ever dreamed your first year of college basketball would be the way it's been. What have these last few weeks been like?
Well, first I want to say thanks for having me. Second of all, it's been a different scenario, different scenery, especially for my first year playing college basketball, obviously with no fans. It's basically an empty gym, just you and your opponent going at it. But at the end of the day, I think it's still basketball. You're still competing to win that game. So you have to bring your own energy.
So, RJ, what is it like? I think one of the real unique things about the beginning part of the season is how active the benches are. Like, the guys not on the court and just how loud they are and how involved they. Do you hear that at all? Like, if the other team starts chirping you from the bench, do you hear that at all, or do you just play right through it?
I mean, you can hear it at all because there's no fans, so you can't really ignore it really because it's everybody's right there. You can hear your team chirping whenever you score or just to get your team going. You can hear the other team's bench. So I mean, basically everyone's voice is being heard in that arena.
Do you ever get mad about smack talk on the court at this point, or has it just been a part of your life long enough that it's just kind of part of the game?
It's part of the game, especially growing up in New York. There's smack talk left and right. So whether you're at the parks or you're even playing high school basketball, there will be smack talk being involved. So basically, I'm used to it.
Who's the best junk talker you've ever played against?
Oh man,
well, that's a good question. I'll have to say whenever we played against either Cardinal Hayes or St. Raymond's back in my high school, those are the two, the guards basically, just the team overall, probably the best, junk talkers.
Do you talk junk, or are you a quiet guy on the court?
Well, it's hard, For me, I'm I'm like a silent assassin, so I really won't talk too much unless you really get me going.
Oh, that's how it gets. You got to get under your skin a little bit.
Yeah, you really got to get on my skin. Or if it's like a rivalry game where I feed off the energy. But usually I won't really say too much. I just let my game do the talking.
So people are still getting to know RJ a little bit. Tell us how basketball became your thing. When did you realize, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
I would say around second, third grade, that's when I really started playing, competitively basketball. Started playing with New York Gauchos around that time. So I remember we went down to Florida for the Nationals, and that's when, things, for me, it felt like I could do something with basketball. And ever since then, I gained that confidence where I could just, go out and hoop against anyone.
So your dad played college basketball too, right?
Yes, sir.
So did you grew up around the game a little bit? I'm assuming. I assume that he kind of introduced you to it, or is that not correct?
That is correct. It took a while for him to introduce it to me at first. I was usually just growing up. I used to play a bunch of sports.
Sure.
So he didn't really let me focus on basketball just yet. It was more so getting the feel for all other sports I played, like t-ball growing up, soccer, football, lacrosse, and then basketball. They became more so my main sport, middle school. So from elementary school to middle school, I've been playing all the sports.
Jones and I have talked about some this year how the Tar Heels play a game and you don't really realize RJ's out there scoring, and then you look at the box score and yep, RJ's got his 12 or 14 again. Have you always been able to put the ball in the basket?
Yeah, especially at my size, I felt like, I've always had the ability to score, at all levels. I think that's part of my game that I'm most proud of. Just for my ability, especially at my size, just to get the ball in the hoop. And not also just get the ball in the hoop, but also, bring energy on both ends of the court and get my teammates involved.
So from the size perspective, in the grand scheme of life, RJ Davis is not a small person. He's
tall to me.
That's right. He is a big person on the scale of life. But in basketball, you are on the smaller side. How have you managed through that and gotten to this point of your career, even though I think some people go, he's a little smaller than a traditional guard?
Yeah, I just use it to my advantage. I really block out the extra chirps, the outside noise about what are people saying, especially the ones that are doubting me. I just use my height as an advantage, with my quickness, with my ability to get around defenders, with my ability to be a pest on defense. I'm really I'm happy with my height. I feel like it's been working ever, since I gone so far from here, from high school. Now I'm at North Carolina. A kid could dream to play here. So I just use that as my advantage, and I don't really let the